Hello guys, welcome to devlog number 5. You may have already noticed that I didn't call this Titanfall VR in the title. You might be asking why. Well, I'll explain that later in the video. Psst, it's related to keeping the project alive. So in the last devlog, I asked you guys to vote and tell me if you guys prefer joystick aiming or hand-tracked aiming. And surprisingly enough, the numbers were pretty even, so I ended up making another type of aiming scheme that's kind of an improved version of the hand tracking. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. In this video, I am going to go over 3 things. First, what's changed since the last devlog. Second, project name change. And third, what's coming up next. There's a lot to cover today, so let's get right into it. First, let's start off taking a look at the new hand tracking. So before, when you aim, you would have to grab these 2 things, these controls that attach your hand, and then you would aim like this. Basically, it's as if you're holding a gun and you're aiming the gun, and wherever you aim is where you'll be shooting. And the spot where you'll be shooting is indicated by these red lines here. So at the end of the red line is where these guns will end up shooting at, like this. Basically, in order to aim, you just be holding these up the whole entire time. So now, your hands will stay attached to these controls. You see how as soon as I bring my hands close to these controls, they just snap to the control itself? So that's how the new hand tracking works. And aiming is done in the same manner. You just have to hold these here. And you still use your hands and your wrists to direct where you're aiming. See how this reticle is following where I'm aiming my wrist. And so in that regards, the aiming is pretty much the same as before. One thing is now you don't have to lift your hands up and act as if you're aiming a gun. In addition, you'll see that the red lines from before that mark where you're aiming are gone. Instead, it's just a reticle like in any other FPS. And wherever this reticle is determines where you'll be shooting. So if I want to aim at this red block here, I just aim a reticle there and then I'll shoot in that area. And then I can control where the reticle is by just moving my wrist and hand to direct the location where I want to shoot. Second, I've added a lot more juiciness. Let's take a look at them one at a time. So I fine-tuned dashing to give it more depth and sense of motion. Let's take a quick look at dashing before and how it looks now. So this is dashing before. Notice how before dashing is very instantaneous. As soon as you press the button, the mech just kind of zooms to its spot. And this is dashing now. Now there's more of a flow to dashing. There's a visible increase of motion as the mech is being pushed towards its direction, and then decrease in motion as the force dissipates. Now let's take a look at a side-by-side comparison of the two. Now let's take a look at how walking has changed. Looking at the footage on the left, you'll notice that before, the walking is very stagnant. There's hardly any additional movement. The movement is very smooth all the way through. When looking at the footage on the right, you'll notice that when mech is walking, the cockpit bobs up and down as it takes its steps. This cockpit bobbing up and down really sells that sense the mech is taking steps and conveys its weight. Next up, let's look at the juiciness I've added to shooting. Since there wasn't any juiciness in the first version, there's no point in showing it. So I'm just going to show you the after version. So as you can see now, when you shoot, the gun actually shakes a little and kicks back to convey the sense that a really heavy shot was shot out. So to add lots of new sounds, let me just play them for you one at a time. First, we got walking. Dashing. And shooting. Actually, why should I spoil the surprise? You should really download the game and experience the new sound for yourself. I promise it'll be cool. You can get it from my itch.io page. The links will be down below. Make sure to check it out. I promise it'll be well worth your time. So next I want to talk about the name change. I decided to rename the project to Project Iron Core from Titanfall VR, and the reason for this is because I want to avoid a cease and desist order from some big company telling me to stop making this project. I wanted to keep this project alive. In order to do that, I had to ultimately change the name. Though the name has changed, the underlying motivation and inspiration for this project is still Titanfall VR. That's why I'm calling it a Titanfall Inspired VR game. That inspiration comes from the aspects of Titanfall that I really like. The sense of weight and that feeling of actually controlling like a big giant mech, as opposed to some other games where the shooting, the movement, and the controls just feel there's a disconnect between what it's supposed to convey to you and what you actually feel. And through this project, I want to attain that sense of weight and heaviness that Titanfall was able to convey in a VR game, and thus Project Ironcore. So what's next? After this devlog, I want to work on multiplayer and networking so that I can get more people to try the game out together and compete against each other, shooting at each other. That allows me to test the multiplayer aspect of the game, as well as how it runs when there's multiple people trying to play at the same time. Multiplayer, I hear, is a giant task, and so it could take a long time. I'm not sure how capable I am, and I don't know how long it's gonna actually take. But I won't let that stop me. I'm gonna make sure it works flawlessly. And hopefully next time, you guys will be seeing a version that you can share with friends and play together. After game multiplayer working well, I want to work on the game mode. I have an idea for a game mode that pits you and your team against some other team, try to fight and win. Just a competitive multiplayer kind of game mode. It's new and unique, and so I want to really try that out and have people test it. I want to get feedback and see how to improve it and see if this game mode is actually novel enough to hold. With that all said, thank you guys very much for watching my video. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you like what I'm doing, consider supporting me on Patreon. Also follow me on Twitter and join my Discord to discuss with me and all the other people that are interested in this project. Again, thank you very much for watching. You guys are very awesome, and I'll see y'all in the next one.